To say the DCEU wasn't popular is an understatement. And now we have the new DCU coming in to basically be a soft reboot of the DCU. Almost a hard reboot, pretty much. There's only really a few things from the original DCEU, which would be like Peacemaker and some Suicide Squad members and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's a fairly massive reboot. Like every Justice League member, all the old films aren't canon anymore, with the exception of pieces of the second Suicide Squad movie, and that's about it. Pretty much, we're gonna see a lot of different stuff coming in. So, first of all, I'm gonna talk about Batman. In the DCEU, Batman was played by Ben Affleck, and he looked great, and I thought he was cool in terms of the action. But in the terms of character, how he was written, I feel like he was written a bit crazy, and I understand he was supposed to be a more grizzled and dark Batman because of Robin's death, but it took him to the point of him being a Punisher type character, and I feel like him killing is against the character. And I think the most egregious part of it is just seeing him shoot with guns. To me, that's not what Batman's about. And I know a lot of people will get mad about that and say, well, he's cool if he shoots guns and stuff, but to me it's not, because he has a moral code, and just because you can shoot guns and kill people doesn't mean you're cool. You know what I mean? And he's a completely different character than the Punisher. As much as I like Ben Affleck, he, as Batman, I did like him, and he thought he looked great. His costumes were excellent. He did well with what he had to use, but I mean, the potential was it was wasted. I mean, we didn't see really any of his villains. The Joker, that's the counterpart to this version, was garbage. I mean, Jared Leto was absolute shit as Joker. I'm not going to lie. He was garbage as the Joker. Probably the worst Joker in film history. It's so bad. Harley Quinn was great, but really his villains are, we get to see a little bit of Killer Croc, a little bit of Deadshot, but the Will Smith Deadshot was just generic. And even his solo movies, he was supposed to fight Deathstroke, which isn't really a Batman villain. And I know it's a hot take. People get mad if you don't really like the idea, but, I would have rather have seen a different Batman villain or just a different villain that's actually a Batman villain than just Deathstroke. I know he can fight Batman, but I don't know. I don't really see him being a main character in a Batman film. To me, he's always been like a Nightwing or a Teen Titan kind of adversary. But that's just my personal taste. For me, the DCU Batman is a complete misfire, and well, not a complete misfire, just wasted potential. And I'm really excited for the new DCU Batman, so we can see if we can get a proper Batman to the screen for a cinematic universe with an actor who wants to stick around, because let's be honest, Ben Affleck did not want to play Batman anymore after BVS, and that's completely fine. He's done. He's not playing Batman anymore. We can all move on. Now, coming to Superman, I mean, honestly, I do like Man of Steel, and I like Henry Cavill a lot, but those films, they don't really feel Superman to me. It's just a darker version. I really liked the suit, and like I said, I liked Henry Cavill, and I liked a lot of stuff about it. General Zod was great. The effects and everything, he looked really cool, but I just thought it didn't feel like a great Superman, and the type of Superman you want to see in a cinematic universe. I would have enjoyed to see a Zack Snyder Superman solo trilogy. I would have, to be honest with you. But I don't know. After seeing, what we could potentially have, because Superman's filmography, unlike Batman or Spider-Man, isn't the strongest. His old movies are great. The first two, and then it's 3 and 4 is bad. And then you have Superman Returns, which is just boring. And then you have Man of Steel, which is good, but is just such a departure from Superman's character, and I understand where they were going with it. But for a cinematic universe, to compete with the MCU, I think we need a more accurate depiction of Superman. And I think David Cornsweet and this new Superman movie did a great job just weaving in all the comic elements from the 30s all the way to modern day, from the Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age. I think they added all the elements. The comic bookiness, I think it was just excellent. We really need a new Wonder Woman, one that actually, likes Wonder Woman. I find the Gal Gadot. We all know Gal Gadot is a bit of a meme of an actress, but not only Gal Gadot, but just the fact that these movies, I don't know, they didn't really capture Wonder Woman. First of all, we didn't really get to see much of the Greek gods or Greek mythology. And a little bit we did, it was just kind of meh, underwhelming. Ares was very underwhelming. They just kind of butchered him. They butchered Cheetah, which is like one of her main adversaries. Made her too dependent on Steve Trevor. There's just a lot of things about it that I just did not like. Which is unfortunate, but I'm hoping a new Wonder Woman comes in, and they will have a new Wonder Woman, but I'm hoping that it's going to, really focus on a more comic accurate Wonder Woman. And, I'm hopeful for the DCU. I mean, we're going to get some Green Lantern content with that Lanterns show, with Jon Stewart and Hal, and we got Guy Gardner recently in the Superman movie, so we're getting, we're going to get some Green Lantern content, which is something we never got in the DCEU, because they were scared to do Green Lantern after Ryan Reynolds' this 2011 movie, which was garbage. So it's nice to see that they're giving Green Lantern some love, and now I'm hoping we get the Flash come back and get a proper Flash movie, because obviously we had to deal with the Ezra Miller debacle with the Flash, and a movie that had no Flash villains and pretty much was just copying the most overused Flash story of all time and making it its own version of that, and it's just kind of a mess. The DCEU, I mean, it's just a mess. We had, empty promises, egos fighting with each other, the Rock trying to take over DC and trying to make Black Adam the main character of the Batman universe. And you got Zachary Levi just being unhinged on Instagram Live. And, the Shazam movie, the first one's great. The second one is just meh. I mean, they didn't even bother using any Shazam storylines, or, they teased Mr. Mind. They didn't bother using him, which makes no sense. I just don't get it. It's just the endless teases, headless Superman. At least now with David Cornsweet, we're actually going to get Superman appearances in movies where he's actually going to be a part of the story, not just a faceless character, because of conflicts with actors and contracts. And, say what you want about James Gunn. You can complain all day about James Gunn, whatever, because he's on Twitter, or just whatever dumb crap you guys come up with about James. At least he has a cohesive vision and some kind of plan, and has contracts. Him and Peter Safran have contracts with these actors that make them appear in different things, shows. We've seen Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor and Peacemaker. You know what I mean? We've seen a Peacemaker cameo in Superman, and he's rumored to be in Superman Man of Tomorrow. So, we're getting these characters come back, and apparently Guy Gardner's going to be in the Lantern show, which makes sense. So, I mean, we're getting a connected universe here. This isn't, the DCEU that, it's just a bunch of disconnected films, and you're not allowed to cameo on anything else, and if you do, it had to be, faceless, or the only cameo in the DCEU, the only person that could make cameos was Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I mean, nobody else ever made cameos, pretty much. It was just all faceless or just references, and everything was discombobulated. There was no, like, you had a Harley Quinn movie where she breaks up with the Joker, but you can't see the Joker because they didn't want to bring back Jared Leto. It's it, it's just, there's you can't have any characters from other movies show up. The DCEU is a mess. It was a mess, and I'm hoping the DCU is great. I mean, it's off to a great start, but I really want something that can at least bring some positive light into the general audience with DC. It doesn't have to, be as big as the MCU. I mean, the MCU is a juggernaut, but I'd like it to be up there with the MCU as a popular franchise, and it has the potential, and I want it to be because DC is my favorite property of all time. I want them to succeed. I've been a DC fan since I was a kid, and I've wanted a cinematic universe ever since the MCU started. I wanted DC to do one like that. So I'm hoping this works out great. And in my opinion, so far, it's a good start compared to the DCEU, and there's just a lot of exciting stuff happening. So just let me know what you guys think in the comments, and give a like and subscribe, and thank you guys.